Tonight, from fun runs and jet flyovers to tinnies and bikinis, how Territorians marked Australia Day. Aussies of all colours, ages and backgrounds come together in Darwin in a rally for change. We celebrate the Territory educator, activist and artist named Senior Australian of the Year. Plus the everyday Aussies recognised for making a difference in our local communities. And a horror 24 hours on our roads, a man killed and boy injured in separate incidents.
This is 9 News Darwin.
Good evening. January 26 is a day to reflect and respect. And here in the top end, Territorians came together in a wonderful display of community spirit, from our newest citizens to the colour and chaos of the annual Ute Run, all celebrating what it meant to be an Australian in their own unique way.
Rising at the crack of dawn, hundreds decided to trade a holiday sleep-in for Darwin's annual Oz Run.
Oh, look, these are some the seasoned budgie smugglers. I've got the green and gold now. Best flag in the world, so be rude not to.
But first, a Zumba warm-up, a chance for our emergency services to show off their best moves. The rain held off at the start line as runners prepared to take their marks.
Get set!
Our national flag was raised at the City of Darwin citizenship ceremony. 55 people from 18 different countries now calling Australia home.
I'm now a Darwin boy. I can't explain the feeling, it's just amazing.
At midday, fighter jets flew over the waterfront, followed by a 21-gun salute. But I'm told this is where the real fun begins. Here at Hidden Valley Raceway, every bloke, Sheila and their dog has brought out their beast in the ultimate display of Aussie pride. Tinnies, cricket bats, bikinis, snags and even a pet pig. Hand raised, Lilo thinks she's a dog and wasn't going to miss out on all the fun.
We don't want to eat pork on your fork on Australia Day. We want lamb.
Some did whatever it took to secure a front spot for the annual Australia Day Ute Run.
I was here from 5:45 yesterday, arvo.
From flags to fake fur.
3 nights and the cart and a beer to stickle the fur to it, and the camel car was born.
Not quite wet season friendly.
On the way back from Nurnama at 100k an hour, should give it a good blow dry.
The long convoy paraded the streets, eventually snaking its way to Nurnama, with all money raised going towards Variety's Freedom Camp for sick and disadvantaged children. Amy Clements, 9 News.
For some, today also revives memories of our brutal history as Indigenous Australians continue to fight for a day of reflection rather than celebration. More than 1,000 people walked in solidarity at Darwin's first Invasion Day March.
January 26, a day that holds immense pain and suffering for our First Nations people. The wounds still very raw without acknowledgement of their history.
We are searching for our identity, searching for our belonging.
A day many Aussies celebrate this great country, forgetting what it feels like for Aboriginal Australians, forever haunted by their ancestors' suffering.
Everyone who comes here and everyone who's born here has the right to celebrate their heritage as Australians, and I think that the acknowledgement needs to be that this is a day for mourning for us.
We'd love to have a day where all Australians can come together and celebrate. May the 8th, mate, that's the date that a lot of people are talking about, and why not?
Today's crowd as big as ever, with more non-Indigenous and young Australians than ever before, choosing to support today as a day of reflection and healing.
The event has gotten bigger, by the hundreds every single year. It's just going to get bigger and bigger.
It's the non-Indigenous people that can make the difference, and we need support.
A group of young Indigenous women led the event.
The young ones are the ones up the front now and leading the way.
Speeches, a powerful poem.
Our silence and our lack of action is abuse too.
A smoking ceremony and a minute's silence. Before a march through Darwin's CBD streets.
Whose lives matter? Black lives matter!
Some silent, some standing in support, and others letting their voices be heard.
No justice, no peace! No pride in genocide! No pride in genocide!
After all that, that it's almost like a calming feeling now.
And there's a glimmer of hope of change coming.
It's really nice to see the support that we're getting. Like, it hasn't always been so positive, so it's really great that it's changing.
Zarisha Bradley, 9 News.
Grace Tame is nothing short of an inspiration. The brave young Tasmanian has overcome horrific abuse to find her voice, lead a movement, overturn an outrageously unfair law and become Australian of the Year. And she's only just begun.
Turning pain into power.
I remember him saying, "Don't tell anybody." I remember him saying, "Don't make a sound." Well, hear me now, using my voice amongst a growing chorus of voices that will not be silenced. Let's make some noise, Australia!
As a teenager, Grace Tame was raped by her maths teacher.
I was 15, anorexic. He was 58. He was my teacher. For months he groomed me and then abused me almost every day.
He was sent to jail but boasted publicly about his crimes. She was denied the right to speak about her experience publicly thanks to outdated laws. The 26-year-old Tasmanian campaigned successfully to have those laws overturned in her home state and has become a powerful voice for other survivors. And now, Australian of the Year. She beat doctors, leaders and other incredible Australians.
To be recognised as being worthy amongst such a remarkable group of people, that's hugely empowering.
She intends to use her platform to keep pushing for change, empowering survivors and using education as prevention.
And take the power away from perpetrators and give it back to survivors.
First, ceremonial duties. Watching as the Prime Minister welcomed new Australians.
Grace Tame is paving a path forward in many ways. She is the first Tasmanian to be named Australian of the Year in the 61-year history of the award.
Today, she added her voice to calls to change the date of Australia Day.
The voices of our First Nations people need to dominate this debate.
Kerry Yaxley, 9 News.
She's an activist, artist and the Territory's first Aboriginal teacher. Now, Dr Miriam Rose Ungma Bauman can add Senior Australian of the Year to her accolades. The Daly River Elder joining a group of incredible women who have taken out this year's prestigious honours.
Miriam Rose has already led an extraordinary life, but the 73-year-old isn't quite done yet.
I hope you will meet us halfway to understand our issues and help us make it better for our communities and for our young people.
Recognised for decades of work in bridging a gap between Aboriginal culture and mainstream society, the Now You Elder last night crowned Senior Australian of the Year in Canberra.
It's very exciting, and then like having people acknowledge, you know, the things that I've been doing all my life.
Back home, she's Auntie, a leader, a healer, much loved. In 1975, Dr Ungma Bauman became the Territory's first fully qualified Aboriginal teacher before touring top-end schools advocating for the inclusion of visual arts in children's education. 7 years ago, establishing the Miriam Rose Foundation.
As you grow older, the job becomes more, and you're there to help and walk and talk and guide young people.
And now honoured beside others striving for change. From the wise to wide-eyed, South Australia's Isabel Marshall may only be 22, but is already breaking down stigma around menstruation. 2021's Young Australian of the Year, co-founding a charity which sells sanitary products to alleviate period poverty.
The reality is that 30% of girls in developing countries drop out of school when puberty hits. 1 in every 10 girls around the world can't afford menstrual products.
Rounding out the deserving lineup, 60-year-old Rosemary Kariuki of New South Wales, named Australia's local hero. Fleeing her home country of Kenya in 1999, her projects have helped thousands of migrant women who've faced war and violence settle into Australia.
I would like to encourage every one of you to meet someone new from a different background this coming week and see what doors open to you.
Beaming with hope and determination, The faces and names building a proud and better nation. Talia Sav, 9 News.
Australia Day is also an opportunity to recognise those in our community who have gone above and beyond to help make the Territory a better place. From professors to a politician and a broadcaster, all agree it's their love of the NT that makes them go on.
Much of Faye Miller's working life has been serving others. The now retired Mayor of Katherine is simply chuffed she's been named a member of the Order of Australia.
I nearly deleted the email, so when I read it I was seriously overwhelmed, very much overwhelmed, and I still do.
After living in Katherine for more than 30 years, Faye uprooted her life to Darwin to access cancer treatment. The straight shooter, one never to back away from a battle, hopes her career and this accolade can serve as an inspiration for young Territorians.
My advice to any young person, anywhere really, but especially in the Territory, you get offered an opportunity, go for it. Because you never know where it's going to take you.
That philosophy is something radio broadcaster Katie Wolfe has always lived by. Today awarded the Medal of the Order of Australia for her work in media and for charity. The presenter, more known for her distinct voice, says it was a call from her late mentor Pete Davies in the same year her dad passed away that prompted a change in her life.
I returned to radio that year, and that was the year that I started Run with Dad. It's about raising that money, but it's really about making sure that we realise the importance of men in our community. We also need to make sure that they look after themselves.
It's looking after others that has driven Professors Alan Cass and Amanda Leach to make a difference. Director of Menzies School of Health Research since 2012, Professor Cass has been made an Officer of the Order, recognised for his work in the prevention and management of chronic kidney disease and improving Indigenous health outcomes.
I think there are such important issues in health equity for how we provide people care, high quality care that meets their needs, but also, as you said, what can we do better?
His colleague, Professor Leach, also recognised for her work in Indigenous child health, in particular ear disease.
It is totally preventable, and of course it's grossly exacerbated by overcrowding and poor hygiene facilities. I think what's kept me going is seeing little incremental improvements along the way.
They're among dozens of Territorians receiving a gong, including those in our public service. In an unprecedented year of COVID, the Territory's top doctor, Hugh Heggie, successfully steered the NT through the pandemic, today awarded the Public Service Medal. His frontline colleague, Chris Killian, to be presented with the Australian Police Medal after 40 years as an officer.
I suppose helping people on a personal basis are the most satisfying achievements.
Each and every achievement going some way to making the Territory a better place. Kathleen Gazzola, 9 News.
The cat was let out of the bag early this year, but despite some protests, today it was made official. Tennis great Margaret Court appointed a Companion of the Order of Australia. She joins a list of more than 800 Australians on the honours list.
The Court of Public Opinion is split right down the line on this year's top recipient.
I wasn't expecting it, and it is a great honour.
No one can fault her prowess on the court. 24 Grand Slam singles titles under her belt. One of only 3 players in history to have won every Grand Slam title. But it's her views on same-sex relationships which have made more headlines of late than her tennis record.
I've always been like that and will always be like that, so it's not going to affect me.
Also appointed a Companion of the Order at the other end of the spectrum, the man who, as Prime Minister, oversaw the legalisation of same-sex marriage.
Margaret Court vehemently opposed that, but nearly 2/3 of Australians voted for it, so there's no question which side of the argument Australians supported.
Journalist Kerry O'Brien rejecting his award in protest against Court's appointment. In a year of unprecedented challenges, recognition today for Australians who've helped steer us through the darkness. As COVID forced the closure of our schools, teacher Dr. Paul Wood turned his mind to e-learning, ensuring our students could still study through the pandemic.
We got international recognition for the materials we produced through learning from home, and this is a real acknowledgement of the team and their work.
Lifeline fielded a record 22,000 calls for help in the first week of this year, a nod today to their Northern Sydney CEO.
This is an award for Lifeline. You know, it's not really about me. You know, it's recognising the work that Lifeline does in the community across the whole of Australia, and that feels really great.
And as her own town of Cobargo rebuilds following devastating bushfires, 88-year-old May Blacker picks flowers from her garden to raise money for other towns affected by natural disasters.
Quite surprised because I thought there were so many other people more deserving with all this going on.
There are more familiar faces on today's honours list. Entertainer Lorraine Desmond appointed a member of the Order.
I am a grandmother.
While Val Lehman, best known for playing the meanest woman on the Australian TV series Prisoner,
There are plenty of hard feelings.
Gets a nod for service to the performing arts and wildlife conservation. And sporting stars once again make this year's honours roll former Socceroo Tim Cahill and international cricketer Greg Chappell.
I'm not sure what I've done to be honest to deserve this. It's quite humbling.
More than 43% of this year's awards are for outstanding service in the local community. Grandmother Gloria Hansen has cared for 23 foster children in her Picnic Point home.
There was one boy I had, he was in third class and he couldn't read, so I'd sit there for hours looking at picture books, one-word books, two-word books, three-word books, and he ended up being the vice-captain of the school when he left.
While Tom and Joy Boyd prove neither age nor disability is a barrier, playing table tennis since they were teenagers with a swag of state and national titles under their belts.
I was overwhelmed, really. I never expected anything like this to happen. Like, you just do it for the love of it.
The Governor-General will present all today's recipients with their awards when COVID restrictions are eased.
I don't think I deserve this blooming medal, but anyway, if I had to go to Government House, I wouldn't be going. They can post it in the post for me.
Laura Tunstall, 9 News.
Now, let's move on to some other news. And tragedy overnight near Humpty Doo. Former NRL player Masada Isefa identified as the victim of a quad bike accident at Herbert. It's believed the 32-year-old who played with the Panthers and Tigers wasn't wearing a helmet when he failed to make a turn on McKinley Road, colliding with a guardrail and rolling his bike. A passerby discovering the scene, alerting police around 9 p.m. today, would have been his 33rd birthday. Meanwhile, a 5-year-old boy's been struck by a car near McMillan's Road at Malac. Emergency services attending the scene just after 12:30 this afternoon. He's currently being treated at Royal Darwin Hospital. Investigations are underway. It's time for a quick look at the weather now with Zarisha Bradley. And Zarisha, did the rain on anyone's Australia Day parade?
Peter, thankfully Mother Nature held off for most of the morning. At the Oz Run this morning, there was a bit of a sprinkle and then a drizzle again in the city around midday, but for most part it was a wonderful overcast day. Monsoonal weather is expected again from Thursday, but it's not expected from the potential cyclone forming in the Gulf of Carpentaria. PT, I'll be back later in the bulletin with your full forecast.
Rain wouldn't have put a dampener on it anyway. Thank you, Zarisha. Ahead in 9 News, critically ill Tony Brown gives an interview. The next day he would die from COVID-19. It's harrowing, but his wife wants to convey the true cost of this deadly virus. Plus, the first dogs move in and leave their mark on the White House. From Downing Street to Down Under, the UK Prime Minister's Australia Day message.
The Australia Day dogfight.
This should be for all Australians.
Angry families hell-bent on protecting their homes and their futures from foreign raiders.
They don't want us on the island. Simple as that.
Join their new campaign to help save paradise.
Wake up, Australian government.
A current affair next.
Love exploring the Territory? If you do, it's good to know that with TIO Comprehensive Car Insurance, if you have an accident covered by your policy, we're here to help with the reasonable costs of towing, as well as your additional emergency accommodation and travelling costs. So get out there and explore. Get a quote today. TIO. We're for Territorians.
Hello. No. Have a good day. Shut up and take my money.
At the Optical Superstore, you gotta be happy with that. Be happy.
Health Fund members with optical cover can be really happy with no out-of-pocket expenses on 2 pairs of single vision glasses. Choose thinner, lighter lenses or quick tint lenses which darken in the sun, or polarised sunglasses. Or select 1 pair of precision multifocal glasses. That's right, all with no out-of-pocket expenses. Optical Superstore, Alice Springs, Casuarina Square, Darwin Mall, Gateway, Palmerston.
With a nice outdoor setting, you can enjoy summer your way.
5-piece outdoor setting, only $149. Foil trays, just $9.95.
Where you find a competitor's lower price on the same stocked item, we'll beat it by 10%. Shop at Bunnings wherever you are, whenever you want.
From the top end.
Wonder if you can text and segue.
To the top of the bottom of the world.
Tasmania, come on down.
Tonight, 7:30, our travel guides are turning down under, upside down.
Why would you have your pants up?
I'm in the ocean, I'm freeing Willy.
Everyone off to Nimbin?
Oh,
We're
God.
eating vegan.
Travel Guides Aussie Spectaculars starts tonight, 7:30.
9 News Darwin, proudly brought to you by TIO, insurance for Territorians.
The stage is set for Donald Trump's impeachment trial, with the United States Congress tonight pulling the trigger on the case to convict. For the first time in history, an impeachment article against a former president has been delivered to the Senate, as Donald Trump revealed his next move.
Through the hallways of the Capitol, where Donald Trump's supporters ran riot, lawmakers carried the paperwork to hold the former president accountable.
Donald John Trump engaged in high crimes and misdemeanors by inciting violence against the government of the United States.
Jurors will now be sworn in, a summons issued for Mr. Trump, who tonight established the office of the former president in Florida to carry on the agenda of the Trump administration. His trial proceedings delayed for 2 weeks as President Biden gets on with business.
Thank you very much for being here.
The clock ticking to convince Republicans to agree on a $1.9 trillion COVID relief bill before the previous president's trial dominates Congress.
Probably in a couple of weeks, but the point is, this is just the process beginning.
For all the talk of bipartisanship and unity over Inauguration Week, the US Senate is deadlocked on how to govern. Republicans are reluctant to sign off on more big spending and divided on how to vote in the impeachment trial. 17 GOP senators would need to cross the aisle to convict their former leader.
We already have a flaming fire in this country, and it's like taking a bunch of gasoline and pouring it on top of the fire.
We have to, as a party, come to real terms with what was our role.
Blissfully unaware of the political storm, First Dogs champ and Major Biden settling into life on Pennsylvania Avenue and keen to contribute. In Washington, D.C., Amelia Adams, 9 News.
Arrivals into the UK, including its citizens, could soon face Australian-style hotel quarantine under new border measures being considered today. It comes as hospitals expose the harrowing human cost of COVID-19.
In a North London hospital bed, 73-year-old Tony Brown is critically ill.
Absolute terrible. If people would have taken a lot more care when this come out, we wouldn't be in such a mess.
The delivery driver, who thinks he contracted coronavirus at work, hasn't seen his wife in weeks.
Linda, I miss her. I really miss her.
He'd been holding out hope of a reunion.
That's all I want now. I don't want anything else in life.
But the day after this interview, Tony died. His wife has given consent for his story to be aired. His life, one of 98,531, cut short by COVID-19 in the UK.
I feel like I want to cry in many moments. Lots of people are passing away and you have to keep doing your job.
The tide is slowly turning. Case numbers are dropping and vaccine figures picking up. 1 in 9 adults, or 6.6 million people, have now received their first dose, as Moderna reveals its jab should protect against the UK and South African variants.
We have to realise there is at least the theoretical risk of a new variant that is a vaccine-busting variant coming in. We've got to be able to keep that under control.
The UK government is seriously considering imposing an Australian-style hotel quarantine system. Prime Minister Boris Johnson set to decide on the tougher border controls today. In London, Kari-Anne Greenbank, 9 News.
The British Prime Minister has spoken of our close ties to the UK through war, history and culture in a special Australia Day message. Boris Johnson shared his hope for a free trade deal and his love for one very Aussie snack.
Australia to deliver that world-class free trade deal we all want to see, a deal that will make sure that we bring Arnott's shapes to Shetland, Vegemite-flavoured shapes.
He also invited Scott to join him in a wager between Prime Ministers who will win more medals at the Tokyo Olympics. Vladimir Putin has condemned rallies against Alexei Navalny's arrest as illegal and dangerous. Tens of thousands of people defied police to join rallies across Russia. More than 3,500 of them were detained. There's been foreign backlash over the opposition leader's arrest, but the EU has not agreed on further sanctions. Still to come in 9 News, not a boxing kangaroo, but a ramming goat, a man who found himself on the wrong side of it. Also ahead, spectacular scenes as a burst main floods a suburb and a heart-stopping crash on an icy road. See the video. Cars plunging towards a river.
Our lucky country, inside the proud Muslim community celebrating Australia Day, the best way they can. Their special display, a current affair next.
Tomorrow, Twiggy and Nicola Forrest join us to talk about why they're so passionate about R.M. Williams.
Love them. Plus, you'll find this shocking, Ellie, but air fryers are my favourite kitchen appliance.
Not surprised at all.
I'll show you how to get the most out of them tomorrow from 5:30.
You get them out of bed, we'll help you with the uniforms. With brilliant basics, woven squats and shorts, just $8. Big W, every day's a big day.
New mini hotcakes with Nutella have arrived at Macca's. Our famous hotcakes made mini with a delicious layer of creamy Nutella. Wherever summer takes you, we'll be here.
Never have I ever had a bite and booked a night. Ridges Palmerston offers contemporary rooms accompanied by poolside relaxation and dining options. We look after our locals, stylish facilities, territory rates and great value packages. Enjoy high teas or dinners from our Asian fusion restaurant. Madame Zha blends the freshest ingredients in a delicious contemporary menu. Ridges Palmerston, a great place to meet. Book through Tourism Top End to use your territory voucher.
You prepare the school lunches, we'll protect them. With a Smash 8-pack lunchbox set, just $8. Big W, every day's a big day.
Too many Territorians die or are injured each year because they're not wearing a seatbelt. Seatbelts protect you and your family in a crash or if the car stops suddenly. So saving lives is this simple. Always wear your seatbelt.
Need a quick and easy low-rate car loan? With no monthly fees and an amazing low rate, a variable car loan from Police Credit Union has never been better. Plus, apply by 10 a.m. and you could get your money the same business day. Visit Police Credit Union for a low-rate car loan.
You prepare them for learning, we'll help some of it stick. With Yoo-Hoo Super Mario Glue Sticks 40 grams, just $1.20 each. Big W, every day's a big day.
What I love about reunions, you can't hide behind your Instagram.
So nice to be welcomed.
Over 2 big nights. old scores
You've upset everyone and you know it.
will be settled.
You can have whatever you want said to you, not my son.
And new revelations
No chance at a reconciliation, guys?
will shock Australia. The Married at First Sight Grand Reunion event, Sunday at 7 on 9.
A man's received a painful bump in the rump from a grumpy goat on a walking track in the New South Wales Blue Mountains. The victim, in his 60s, had to be treated by paramedics, then taken to hospital. The callous attacker hanging around the scene, looking over things. Other walkers now wary of the belligerent Billy. Alleged pedophile Malka Leifer is hours away from returning to Melbourne to finally begin a long-awaited legal battle. Victim advocates say the prisoner must not be given special treatment behind bars despite her strict religious requirements.
In the custody of Victorian sex crimes detectives, Malka Leifer's lawyers say her extradition was meant to be kept secret.
This clearly didn't happen given the fact that photographs of her being led in handcuffs and leg cuffs were leaked to the press.
The accused pedophile was taken from prison in the middle of the night. Israel's Justice Minister made good on his promise to extradite Leifer within 60 days of a court ruling, tweeting the legal process was long and there were those who tried to pollute it. The country's COVID shutdown meant Leifer was put on one of the last flights out of Tel Aviv's international airport.
The Israeli international borders are closed as of now, and ultimately the authorities had the opportunity, a small window, to extradite her.
After leaving Israel, Leifer's extradition journey includes stopovers in Frankfurt, Germany, then in Singapore before touching down in Melbourne, marking 13 years since she fled Victoria, before three sisters could have their day in court, alleging their principal had sexually abused them when they were students at the Adass Israel School.
Such an extraordinary long process, more than 70 court cases. It's been tough on the girls as well. They've been very strong, very resilient.
The 54-year-old will serve her mandatory quarantine period in one of Victoria's women's-only jails. Because of her orthodox beliefs, she will have unique needs.
Obviously, she has her issues about male and female interaction. Let's try to respect all of those things. But at the same time, she does not deserve any special treatment.
Leifer will face a magistrate for a virtual hearing in the coming days, and like any accused person, she has the right to apply for bail. Eliza Rugg, 9 News.
Residents on Sydney's northern beaches received an unexpected deluge today, a water main bursting in Newport. It's not the first time the street's been inundated with water, locals claiming the pipes underneath them are ticking time bombs.
Like a water cannon being fired out of the depths of the earth. A burst main on Atunga Road at Newport, sending a torrent 15 metres into the air. The road split apart by a streaming, gaping hole. The deluge running down the hill and flooding busy Barrenjoey Road. Cars taking the plunge and driving through the water. On a stinking hot Australia Day, this probably wasn't the cool down locals expected.
I'd love to get in it, only can't.
Well, thousands of litres of water have been running down this road now for at least 2 hours, and authorities are concerned that this roadway could now be at risk of collapse. Residents say they felt a rumble before hearing a roar.
My son had his car parked actually over the toll this morning, and he just felt some movement under the ground, and then all of a sudden the thing just blew up.
Workers finally able to switch off the mains, the roadway river reducing to a trickle. The bitumen left buckled and lifted, a giant sinkhole left behind.
There's been a prolonged dry weather in this area, and we do know that the dry weather causes the source to dry out and the pipe movement in the ground, which leads to a break.
It's not the first time these residents have been given extra water views. These pipes have burst at least 3 times before. In 2018, homes were evacuated in the middle of the night.
It's really old pipes. I just don't know why they don't do something.
A digger called in today to try to fix the problem. Locals hope it's not another Band-Aid solution. Laura Tunstall, 9 News.
2 days after a devastating fire tore through the Adelaide Hills, residents have finally been allowed to return to assess the damage. Homes and lives have been devastated, but amid the destruction, there is hope.
Her home in ruins, Ray Townsend bravely faces the aftermath of the devastating fire.
You look at it now
what could I have done with the garden hose? Not a thing, so, yeah, no, I'm glad I went.
The 71-year-old has lived in Bradbury since 2007, and in less than an hour, everything inside was lost.
I didn't get the photos out. They were all boxed up, ready to go. I didn't get things like the family Bible that's a couple of 100 years old out.
Her home gutted, her car was melted, but remarkably her garden survived and her positivity is intact.
Where there's life, there's hope, isn't there? So I'm happy.
The residents of a second home destroyed along Mount Bold Road are yet to return. Neighbour Jessica Jones stayed and defended her home. With the adrenaline wearing off, today she saw her mum for the first time since the fire tore through.
And she sent this message and just said pray, so that's all I did until she was all right.
It was, seconds away, and that's when I was just thinking, this is the live or die moment, and I just messaged Mum.
All around the Mount Bold Reservoir is scorched. The fire is now contained, but the danger is still lurking. Thermal imaging cameras being used to find hotspots.
They're white hot ash. We're talking easily 500 degrees.
Another major concern has been falling trees. Yesterday's rain has made the soil very unstable and it's hampering crews' efforts to move into the fire ground.
This is not a safe area to be. A lot of the trees that are fire affected have the potential to fall not only in the next few days but the next couple of weeks.
This morning, fresh legs arrived at Mylor Oval to continue the firefight. Wildlife is another big victim of the blaze, and there are reports of people exploiting donations.
There's some very disreputable people out there trying to take advantage of this situation by pretending to be helping, but not, just lining their own pockets.
As the community gets back on its feet and the reality of the losses sets in, fury continues to grow over the likelihood this fire was started by an arsonist.
It makes me very angry. And yeah, you don't really want to know what I'd like to do with them.
Mike Lorrigan, 9 News.
Emergency teams in China have found 9 miners dead, one day after 11 others were rescued yesterday. The men were stuck underground for 2 weeks, fed meals through tubes and communicating with the outside world through letters. One man is still missing. It's unclear why this ute suddenly swerved into an oncoming car in snowy Utah, but it took the Subaru with it when it plunged straight off the cliff. While the car stopped on the embankment, the ute barreled into the icy creek. A woman inside had to be cut out. No one was seriously injured. Still ahead in 9 News, the accidental asthma discovery that's proving a game changer for treatment and prevention. Plus changes to the way doctors write your scripts, what you need to know. See the full video. What happens when this little boy throws explosives down a manhole?
The superstars of tennis face off for a special tennis event.
Oh, what a shot!
With world #1 Ash Barty plus Rafael Nadal in 2 primetime blockbusters. Flawless. The Adelaide Super Slam, Friday on 9 and 9 now.
The plate clearance is on now at Bridge Toyota with incredible offers on popular models. Save thousands with free on roads across the new Hilux 4x4 range. Or how about 3.9% across the CHR, Corolla Hatch and Corolla Sedan range. Starting from $88 per week for the Corolla Ascent Sport Hatch Manual with Toyota Access. Race into Bridge Toyota, Darwin and Palmerston as these offers won't last. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
I got a good feeling. Feel it in my bones, gotta shake it out. I'm going harder than before, let me hear you shout. I run around the whole world, chasing that thrill. From the bottom to the top, I finna knock it out. Oh no, I'm the talk of the town. I know you're feeling it now. Come on and move to the sound. And keep it going, and turn it up loud.
Transitions, right under control.
Visit your optical superstore optometrist to ask about Transitions brand lenses.
We've got everything you need at Mower World Darwin, stocking all the big brands and models including Husqvarna outdoor power equipment, Skag ZTR, Mazport, Yamaha golf carts, Husqvarna construction equipment, plus lots more. With interest-free periods now available to approved customers. Plus the backing of our sales, service, parts and accessories divisions, we at Mower World Darwin have you covered. Mower World Darwin, Stewart Highway, Berrima, next to Camping World Darwin.
104.1 Territory FM.
Mattress Studio's famous King for Queen deal is on now. Right now at Mattress Studio, get any king size for the price of a queen or queen for the price of a double. Huge savings on top quality Australian-made mattresses, only for a limited time.
Never have I ever had a bite and booked a night. Ridges Palmerston offers contemporary rooms accompanied by poolside relaxation and dining options. We look after our locals, stylish facilities, territory rates and great value packages. Enjoy high teas or dinners from our Asian fusion restaurant. Madame Zha blends the freshest ingredients in a delicious contemporary menu. Ridges Palmerston, a great place to meet. Book through Tourism Top End to use your territory voucher.
Your happy place. It's a state of mind. Sometimes to get there, you just need a little jump start. And there we go.
The Australia Day dogfight. Angry families hell-bent on protecting their homes from foreign raiders. Their new campaign to save paradise. A current affair next.
With international travel still on hold, Australians are redeeming millions of Qantas frequent flyer points on 5-star holidays at home. The number of luxury hotels booked with points has doubled in the past year. Qualia on Hamilton Island, Sydney's Park Hyatt and the Sheraton Grand Mirage on the Gold Coast proving the most popular. With fewer points being earned by flying, members are interested in getting their balances with credit card spending and through Qantas retail partners. It's an accidental discovery that could be a game changer for people with asthma. Australian researchers finding 2 molecules. One, a commonly used dietary supplement, could significantly reduce the severity of an attack. Vicky Jardim has more.
For most of Susan Dougal's life, she's battled asthma. It's a condition that saw her hospitalised and in constant fear.
Often it's just the worry of what happens if I can't breathe and what if I don't have my puffer, my reliever with me.
Now researchers at Monash University have made an unexpected discovery in the potential future treatment of chronic asthma and even COVID-19. While examining how the immune system influences gut bacteria in mice, researchers found some surprising benefits for asthma.
This is one of the most exciting things we've found so far.
Already available as a dietary supplement, an amino acid called L-tyrosine is used by certain bacteria in the gut to produce a second molecule. That molecule goes all the way to the airways, reducing inflammation.
So we'll develop that as a small molecule which might be prescribed in the future by a doctor for people with severe asthma.
The next step is trying out this research on humans. A clinical trial will begin this year using the natural supplement, which is now commonly used to improve mental alertness and focus. 1 in 9 Australians is affected by asthma, and more than 400 people died from the disease in 2019.
To be able to just think, this is my body and I can do whatever I can, I can run up hills, I can climb stairs. That would be just such a lovely thing. It would take back a huge element of control.
Vicky Jardim, 9 News.
There are big changes coming to the way doctors write prescriptions from next month, and everyone will be affected. Health authorities say it's all about making patients safer and medications cheaper, but some people, especially seniors, could find it confusing.
This is Diane Hammond's morning routine.
I'm on 1, 2, 3, 4 a day.
A necessary process to keep her fighting fit at 75.
And it's pretty serious stuff.
For years, she's taken the same name brand medication, but this time her chemist gave her a generic brand instead, as her usual brand wasn't written on the script.
My husband went and got the script. He bought it home. I opened it up and I said, that's not what I want.
While some doctors have already implemented the change, from next month, most will be required to prescribe medications by their active ingredients and not just their brand name.
If we have uniform generic prescribing, then we would decrease confusion in the long term and we would have a much safer way of prescribing drugs.
For example, if you have asthma, your old script might name a brand like Ventolin. On new scripts, active ingredients like salbutamol sulfate must be listed first, with doctors given the option to list the name brand or not. So why the change? Well, listing active ingredients can help accidental double dosing if you're taking the same ingredient in more than one medicine. It's also about encouraging the more widespread use of generic brands.
So some scripts, when they are generically prescribed, could be cheaper, so that could be a pleasant surprise to some patients.
Patients are encouraged to speak with their doctor. If your GP or specialist issues handwritten and not electronic scripts, there are exemptions. Wendy Kingston, 9 News.
This little boy got more bang than he bargained for when he threw a firecracker down a manhole in China. The explosion bursting the covers off 5 others one by one. No one was injured, but the boy and his parents have been reprimanded by authorities. Wow. Coming up in sport, the Joker under fire again, plus why there's fire in the belly for the Demon ahead of the summer of tennis. Also coming up, the Key Blue with a bit of payback on a mind. And a LeBron reunion the Cavs could have done without.
Keep yourself informed at a time where anything can happen. News alerts when you need them most with the free 9 News app.
The new crispy barbecue McGoz has arrived at Macca's. Made with juicy beetroot, 100% Aussie beef and crispy onions. Wherever summer takes you, we'll be here.
1041.
Never have I ever had a bite and booked a night. Ridges Palmerston offers contemporary rooms accompanied by poolside relaxation and dining options. We look after our locals, stylish facilities, territory rates and great value packages. Enjoy high teas or dinners from our Asian fusion restaurant. Madame Zha blends the freshest ingredients in a delicious contemporary menu. Ridges Palmerston, a great place to meet. Book through Tourism Top End to use your territory voucher.
What did you say that time? Brett, what are you doing? Brett, slow down. Got one.
Brett, it doesn't go that fast.
Look at Daddy. Oh, Brett.
Brett, slow down.
Calm down.
Brett, slow down. Brett.
Speeding. There's no future in it.
Harvey Norman Summer Sizzlers. Enjoy summer at home with the Archie Fabric Modular Lounge Suite featuring power recliners, storage console and lights for just $2,699. Or the super comfy Gaucho 3-seater fabric sofa with twin powered reclining actions and USB ports, only $1,499. Get a sleek new look with the Gwyn 7-piece dining suite. Huge value at just $1,199. Plus get 60 months interest free with a bonus gift card. Now at Harvey Norman.
After 40 years in Australian terrain, the new Hilux is engineered with improved comfort so you can get things done and then go back for more. The hard-working new Hilux. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
Our lucky country, inside the proud Muslim communities celebrating Australia Day, the best way they can. Their special display, a current affair next.
This sports report brought to you by Harvey Norman. Shop online, mobile or in-store today.
Alex de Minaur believes he is ready to match it with the big guns and do some serious damage at the Australian Open. He'll get an early chance to put that into action at the upcoming ATP Cup, where he's promised to take it to Rafael Nadal.
Just 21 and already Australia's top-ranked male player, Alex de Minaur has a good feeling about 2021.
Anything can happen. It's pretty exciting. I'm hoping it can be a big one.
As far as acid tests go, they get none better than Rafael Nadal. Sensational! Just 12 months ago, de Minaur pushed the 20-time Grand Slam winner to 3 sets at the ATP Cup. And when this year's tournament begins next Tuesday, they'll be slugging it out again.
This is the players I want to play against week in and week out, and I get my opportunity. It's a great test to gauge where I'm at.
It could prove an important springboard into the Australian Open. Last year, de Minaur's Melbourne Park hopes were cruelled by an abdominal injury. In fact, the young Aussie was so shattered to miss, he shut down social media and laid low.
It was pretty brutal. Didn't really even watch what happened when I was back home, so I just had to turn off. I mean, it just adds a bit of fuel, a bit of fire in the bellies.
Nick Kyrgios is equally excited to get back to work. And ahead of his arrival into Melbourne, he's promised to keep calling out players like Novak Djokovic, who he says should be setting the example for all players, like LeBron James does in the NBA.
I think we have to hold each other accountable.
There was this veiled swipe too from Rafael Nadal. The Spaniard appearing to reference the Joker's list of demands as propaganda tactics. In less than 48 hours, the first group of quarantine players will be released, and it's fair to say the Demon has his priorities sorted.
Go for a stroll, get myself a coffee.
Clint Stanaway, 9 News.
The Heat have locked in their first Big Bash finals berth in 4 years, despite a last ball scare from the Scorchers. Brisbane will host the Strikers on Friday after Hobart went down to the Renegades by 11 runs in today's late game.
On January 26th, the equation for the Heat was simple: win and it's a finals berth, lose and it's all over. And it wasn't looking good.
Oh, is that an edge? And that's a big one.
Although there's a reason why they call him Linsanity.
Oh, that's big hit. That is massive from Chris Lynn.
The heavy hitter put the foot down, notching up a quick 50. Even officials couldn't keep sight of the ball. His determination with the bat proved his own undoing.
This could be the first time. Good catch.
Left in the capable hands of Marnus Labuschagne, the Heat kept cruising, blasting a total of 181. They looked to be in the driver's seat, but let an early opportunity slip through their fingers.
That would have been a great catch.
The Scorchers could smell blood, hunting a home final.
Oh, he's got hold of that through the leg side.
The pressure cooker dialed up a notch. Labuschagne was handed his opportunity with the ball taking not one.
This is the wicket. Oh!
Not two.
Big wicket, Labuschagne.
But 3 wickets for just 15.
Look him in for Michelle Pfeiffer.
While he didn't quite reach 5, his efforts were just enough for the Heat. The Scorchers scrambling down to the very last ball.
Marsh doesn't get there and the Heat get into the finals.
Wasn't the perfect game, but I think that's also an exciting thing for us going into the finals. That we haven't put the perfect game in and we've snuck in.
Erin Buchan, 9 News.
Carlton AFLW coach Daniel Harford admits there could be a few scores to settle in Thursday night's season opener against Collingwood, and forward Taylor Harris is central to the growing rivalry.
For the first time in almost a year, footy with crowds is back. Those involved acutely aware they can put to rest any scepticism fans won't pay to see the women's game.
Now, the AFLW is growing and some people don't recognise that, but we're fully aware. When you're living it day to day, you're fully aware of what it does and what it means to people.
While Princes Park won't be quite as packed as that inaugural match back in 2017, already 3,500 tickets have been sold. Many no doubt keen to see the fallout of these comments 12 months ago.
You just got to stop her in the air. That's her game, and if you can do that, she's useless.
That was Collingwood defender Stacey Livingston's blunt appraisal of Carlton star Taylor Harris, who hasn't forgotten.
She's a pretty proud athlete and the disciplines that she's involved in with AFLW and with boxing, so I would imagine that certainly it's in the back of her mind.
It'll also be the first time the Blues cross paths with their former captain Brianna Davey, who defected to the Pies.
I don't know what the players will do. It's not something I'll bring up, I must admit. I think we've all pretty much moved on from it. It's certainly a good, sexy story, don't worry about that. And I get all that, but that's not something I'm too worried about.
Ayrton Woolley, 9 News.
The Newcastle Knights won't be announcing their new captain for another 5 weeks, but front-runner Blake Green believes he would be up to the job if he was handed the reins.
I'm a lot older now. I've been in a few leadership groups at the last couple of clubs that I've been in, so I've got a pretty good idea of what that sort of looks like, and I've had some good role models to follow.
Green's still recovering from an ACL injury and is expected to miss the opening rounds of the season. Frank Lampard, one of Chelsea's favourite sons, has been sacked as manager. He'd been in the top job for just 18 months, but with the Blues languishing in 9th place, management decided to pull the pin. Labelled by some as ludicrous and brutal, it came just 24 hours after a 3-1 win over Luton in the FA Cup. Zarisha has your full weather report right after the break. And Zarisha, when will we see another decent downpour?
PT, it's expected Thursday from a monsoon trough deepening near the WA border. I'll have those details up next.
Nine News Darwin, proudly brought to you by TIO, insurance for Territorians.
The Australia Day dogfight. Angry families hell-bent on protecting their homes from foreign raiders. Their new campaign to save paradise. A current affair next.
We're announcing something big. The big deal is now on at Mazda, and we're putting value on 2020 plate vehicles front and centre, like CX-5 Max from $32,990 drive away. Search Mazda offers today.
You can count on Maurice Blackburn to be here, because we've been here this year and 100 years before that, helping Australians get their lives back on track. So if you need help, call us today.
Love exploring the Territory? If you do, it's good to know that with TIO Comprehensive Car Insurance, if you have an accident covered by your policy, we're here to help with the reasonable costs of towing, as well as your additional emergency accommodation and travelling costs. So get out there and explore. Get a quote today. TIO, we're for Territorians.
Barbecues galore Darwin at 660 Stewart Highway, Berrima, next to Amart. Entertaining this season, Barbecues galore Darwin have the big brands in modern outdoor living. And now, compare the largest Ziegler and Brown range in Darwin. Explore your own new flavours with Barbecues Galore's range of offset smokers and low and slow barbecues. Stock up on wood pellets, wood chips or marinades and proudly share your new flavour profiles. See the huge range at 660 Stewart Highway, Berrima, next to Amart. Barbecue better with Barbecues galore Darwin.
This weather alert brought to you by Fridgelec. We've got the stock. Be cool and comfortable. Fridgelec, your Dakin air conditioned specialist.
Hello again. Tomorrow might be another recharge weather day, much like today, before monsoonal action is expected again on Thursday. Taking a look at today's temperatures, Darwin reached 29 degrees today, the humidity hitting at 96%. On the satellite, the active monsoon trough in the tropical north of the country is causing convective cloud and thunderstorms with several embedded lows. For the capitals tomorrow, Brisbane 32 and partly cloudy, showers increasing in Sydney and 26, 23 and a shower or two for Canberra, 17 and cloudy in Hobart, cloud clearing in Melbourne, 24 there, fine and 28 for Adelaide, and partly cloudy in Perth reaching 25. In the top end tomorrow, Katherine 34 with showers and possible storms, the same conditions in Tennant Creek, slightly warmer, Alice partly cloudy and a top of 35 and 34 in Yulara with showers and possible storms. On the Darwin Harbour, seas around 1 to 1.5 metres, westerly 10 to 15 knot winds turning northwesterly. In the morning, a high tide of 6 metres before 5 a.m, dropping to 1.7 metres before midday. Time now to check out our catch of the the day, and today's winner is mother-daughter duo Belinda and Ariane. They caught their first small perch and dartfish on the Darwin Harbour. And don't forget to send your catch of the day entries to newsphotos@9.com.au. Tomorrow, 32 showers and a possible storm for Palmerston. The same conditions and temperature for Humpty Doo. Also 32 in Darwin with rain and a possible storm on the radar. The next 7 days, the chance of a cyclone forming in the Gulf of Carpentaria has increased to high, but we may feel the effects of a monsoon trough over the Kimberley from Thursday. PT, we are keeping an eye on that monsoon trough. It could develop into a tropical low.
Zarisha, looking for that. Thank you very much once again. A Siberian tiger has made a mad dash for freedom, released into a protected forest in Russia. The predator was seized in December after attacking several dogs in a populated area. She'll be monitored with a GPS collar to help inform researchers of her relocation progress. The mountains of northern China have become a frozen wonderland after storms swept through the area. Trees covered in thick snow and icicles created a magical scene, much to the delight of locals. January is normally the coldest month for the region, and it's also one of the driest. And that's 9 News for Tuesday. I'm Paul Taylor from all of the team. Good night.